Okay, y'all, it's episode 3 of the Jasmine Burton Show, and this week was honestly diabolical, but like, we're gonna get into it because it was crazy. And I'm really excited to chop it up because it's just been a lot. It's just been a lot. And you know, this episode is brought to you by Kith. They sponsored this whole thing. That's a lie, but maybe if I manifest it, it will come true. But anyways, let's get into it with our first segment. ICE is still dropping people like flies. Because so many tragedies are happening, something terrible can't stay in the news cycle for longer than 24 hours because another equally as horrible tragedy happens the next day. So the first one is forgotten or met with rage for a brief moment until we turn our attention to another thing that needs to be met with rage. It's cyclical and it's exhausting. So we keep cycling. Outrage, sleep, repeat. And in case y'all wanted to know, over 30 people died in ICE custody in 2025. That's just people dying in custody, not even people that died during enforcement action. On top of that number, significantly more died during enforcement action. And you know what? I can't say their names because I can't remember them all. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So many people have died in interaction and proximity to ICE that I physically need to have a list in front of me to remember all of their names. Does that sound familiar? Does that look familiar? Does that remind you of the shirts that we had to make during Black Lives Matter movement because so many black boys and black girls were killed by police? Does it ring a bell? Minneapolis is a shit show right now. Even after Renee Good's murder, ICE is still outside like some corner boys because her murder was a part of an operation involving thousands of federal agents sent into the city as part of Trump administration's crackdown. And in response to Renee Good's brutal murder, hundreds of protesters, actually let me slide down, flip down, reverse that. Hundreds of nonviolent, peaceful protesters practicing their constitutional right of civil disobedience were tear gassed. Tear gassed. Once again, does that sound familiar? Does that look familiar? We've been on that. And speaking of people that have been on that, Minneapolis, what the fuck are you on? Y'all still got the echoes of George Floyd's last words etched into the conscience of the world when that police officer put his knee on his neck like we was at the 20-yard line. Before him, there was Linnell Frazier, an innocent bystander struck and killed when Minneapolis police chased suspects through a neighborhood. And now, y'all are letting ICE kill white women in the street. Are y'all okay? You know the part that gags me? The freaking governor of Minnesota that has complete jurisdiction to make change in the whole state as well as Minneapolis is the same man that ran alongside a black and Indian woman in her run for president as her vice president, Tim Walz. What the fuck are you on? Chicago said we're not playing that. Los Angeles said we're not playing that. Memphis said we're not playing that. Everybody is not playing that. But you still are. We didn't make this moment. We inherited. And we're demanding that leaders who claim to respect and represent justice stop giving us speeches and start giving us solutions. If you stood beside Kamala Harris, a woman whose every first defies old scripts, to run for the highest office in the land and then stand beside the people now, use the powers you have. Show me that you're built like that. Show me! Because this is disgusting. ICE is running all up and down your city. And for what? Y'all be weak in the knees. Stand up. Chrissy and Desmond broke up, and it made me realize that I put way too much of a profound emphasis on them as a couple because them breaking up floored me. And then right after the news came out, we found out that Dom and India broke up, and I said, y'all are overestimating my mental stability. You think I can take this? Both of them breaking up? Absolutely not. This was not the you pick two I asked for. I cannot take it. I'm not sane enough. And this is the thing, Dom and India was like honestly insane because Marlon was supposed to be dating Yana, but a lot of y'all aren't into the streamer world enough to get that reference. But Christy and Desmond, that was an atomic bomb. I ain't been that mad since Whitney and Bobby. I was shocked. But here's the thing, I read through the divorce filing because y'all are lazy and just read the headlines, and honestly, I love that for you. I love it for you. If I had a pretty bitch that did all the hard labor like myself, I would be lazy too. And in her filing, she cited alleged infidelity by Desmond as a legal basis for the dissolution of the marriage, saying that it completely wiped out any reasonable chance of reconciliation. Mic drop. And what's crazy is after this news came out, Desmond posted a statement on IG, and I don't know why I thought he was gonna deny like most men do, but he actually let his nuts drag. He said, yup, I did it. And I let Chrissy know that I wanted divorce before I stepped out, so Shorty knew. Only people that didn't know was y'all. Like, damn, noted. But Chrissy ain't skipped a beat, child, and she started trolling us, posting on IG, talking about same address, like, girl, we are grieving. This is hard for us. You might be fine, but we're not fine. We love y'all. Like, I literally showed their videos to my boyfriend, and I was like, it's possible for silly bitches to find love. I love their dynamic. Chrissy was always wilding out, and Desmond was laughing and supportive, cooking for her, laughing at her jokes. I was so bought in to what they were putting out. I also was inspired by the fact that the woman was the breadwinner and the man wasn't intimidated because, child, Chrissy was raking in those social media checks. So I was loving it. So when they broke up, it shattered me because I placed such a profound emphasis on the success of their relationship, and it made me realize I'm too invested. Like, I gotta touch grass because I lost sleep over this. I lost a good amount of sleep over this. But there's one theory that I have to address on here because the fans on social media have taken this narrative and really ran with it. Several of y'all have linked their divorce situations to beliefs commonly associated with Jehovah's Witnesses, particularly because those beliefs allow divorce under limited circumstances, such as adultery, and that was the reason cited by Chrissy in the divorce filings. This speculation has become a part of online conversation about their divorce, but news sources, I have to say, have not definitively reported that they are active members or currently practicing or have been a part of Jehovah's Witnesses. The part that is most fascinating to me is the property and assets and how those are being handled, which often becomes the most complex and contentious parts of any high-profile separation. I've been watching All Is Fair on Hulu, so I'm now well equipped to give you the skinny on divorce law, baby, so let's get into it. In most divorces, assets are divided into separate property and community property. Separate property generally includes items one spouse owned before the marriage, gifts or inheritances received individually, or assets specifically designated as separate in a legal agreement. Community property, by contrast, consists of most assets and debts acquired by either spouse during the marriage. This distinction is important because it determines what's up for division by the court and what remains solely under one spouse's control whenever a divorce starts. Chrissy and Desmond live in Texas, so the law that will preside over that case is Texas law. And in particular, Texas follows a community property system, which means that property acquired during the marriage is presumed to belong equally to both spouses. Separate property, on the other hand, is protected from division as long as it can be clearly identified and traced. That means that gifts, inheritances, premarital assets usually stay with the original owner. The court will consider how each asset was acquired, whether it was mingled with community funds and other relevant documentation when determining what stays separate and what is split. In the filing, Christy identified two things. The first was certain properties that she owned separately, which she asked that these not be included in the community property division. And second is the new home together in 2025, which according to social media posts, she says same address, which means she's still living there. By identifying her own separate properties and asking that they remain excluded from community property, Christy is invoking Texas law to protect her premarital or individually owned assets. Meanwhile, the new home built in 2025 was with them together, which is a marital asset created during their marriage. That could be classified as community property unless there's specific agreements in place by both parties. Bitches assemble. I know you love this man today, but he might cheat tomorrow. I'm rooting for everyone, and I truly believe your relationship will work out, but in the rare case that it doesn't, you want to make sure that you're protected because honestly, you never know what is going to happen. And when things happen that bring up emotion, you're not going to be thinking clearly when logic matters the most. If someone cheats on me and we're going into a proceeding where we have to discuss property, I promise you I'm going to advocate for that man to be homeless. How can you not? He cheated on me. It's up. That's why these things should be determined before the marriage, just as a precaution, because when property, kids, and all that stuff is in the mix, it gets very dicey. Chrissy was smart. She got some individual properties with herself on the side. Keep that little side account, girl. You never know. Don't get digmatized and lose the plot. Hopefully, and I pray that no one is ever subject to a divorce and that everyone's marriages last. I really believe that. But you just don't know. You have to be smart and do a lot of work up front so that when these things get wicked, you're already prepared. They were together since high school. They probably never thought they were getting divorced. They probably thought they were going to be together forever, child. And things happen. So as much as I want to breathe life into y'all, you just never know. So keep that little side account, girls and guys, because you just never know, and be smart. Because they don't pay me enough to be out here giving y'all advice every day. Y'all get it once a week. Okay? Okay, the world is ending, but also Megan Thee Stallion just opened her first Popeyes restaurant in Miami Beach, and that's real hot girl shit. But this is the thing. I was also on the Shade Room reading too fast, and I thought it said Viola Davis was wanted by Miami police for reports of a domestic violence incident. And I was like, oh, hell, not Viola Davis, girl. I cannot take any more tragedy. But it was Tank Davis, which is normal news for him, honestly. That's giving like any given Sunday. Like he's been in the news for domestic violence a million times. But anyways, let's get into why we're really here. Michael B. Jordan keeps getting snubbed for awards on Sinners, and it's not sitting right with my spirit. First, it was the Critics' Choice Awards. Now the Golden Globes. I'm about to run up in there and start putting belt to ass. because they need to give my man the respect he deserves.
Sinners dominated the box office, earning a staggering $368 million. White Hollywood was so shook after seeing the box office numbers. Variety ran the headline, "Do box office numbers really matter?"
You know how poppy you gotta be to make a whole news outlet be like, this doesn't matter? But that's the thing. Throughout Hollywood's history, black actors have frequently delivered performances widely acclaimed by critics and audiences, yet are consistently overlooked by major award shows. Let's get into it. Sidney Poitier, despite his groundbreaking work in Lilies of the Field in 1963, which was before y'all's time, was never recognized. Denzel Washington, despite multiple powerhouse performances in films like Malcolm X and The Hurricane, was nominated several times for Oscars but did not win any. Halle Berry, even after her historic Oscar performance for Monsters Ball, has been passed over for other exceptional performances like Dorothy Dandridge, Frankie and Alice. Like, I think the one that hit the most recently for us was Viola Davis in Fences, and Chadwick Boseman in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. They were lauded for transformative performances, but also were snubbed at the Oscars, and that's the pattern. Excellence is acknowledged in conversation and critique, but often denied the formal recognition and institutional validation that awards provide. And then, all too often, the industry tries to smooth over these snubs by awarding black talent in smaller or technical categories. That's the part y'all miss. They're giving the appearance of recognition while continuing to pass over them for the most prestigious honors. A clear example is Ryan Coogler, whose work on films like Black Panther and Creed earned him nominations and wins in categories like Best Adapted Screenplay or Outstanding Production Design, yet was repeatedly overlooked for Best Director or Best Picture at major awards. And these wins, although meaningful, feel like more of a symbolic nod than true acknowledgement of his full creative impact. And that pattern is familiar. Black artists are celebrated in certain pockets, while the biggest, most visible accolades, the ones that really define careers and cement legacies, remain out of reach. So this brings me to Michael B. Jordan, who's facing a similar situation with Sinners. He receives nominations, yet the major awards for Best Actor elude him, echoing a long-standing industry habit of offering partial recognition while withholding the honors that truly matter. And I know these tricks, because you can't outdo the doer. And now the Oscars are in March. The Oscars are in March. And if y'all are acting up, I'm acting out. If y'all are acting up, I'm acting out, because I'm not taking it. I need Michael B. Jordan to get his award. We got 2 of him. What did Nikki Glaser say?
And I can't believe it. We got 2 Michael B. Jordans. When I saw that, I was like, Nikki B. Jerkin, because that was awesome.
The whole audience was, because 2 Michael B. Jordans was a lot more than we can handle. So he needs to get his awards, or I'm running up in there. I don't know who needs to hear this, but stop calling those little 6-week breaks celibacy. You're not celibate. Y'all take a 1-month break from having sex with a man that you've gone back to 50 times after being worn, torn, and tested and think that you're somehow now closer to God. Please. That's not how celibacy works. That's not how it works at all. That's not celibacy. That's a commercial break. That's halftime. What did Nicki Minaj say? That's, I took a little time off to rest and now it's game time, bitches. You were tired, not transformed. We've been there. We've done that. We see right through your funky hat.
We've been there, we've done that, we see right through your funky head.
First of all, you harlots should have been waiting for marriage, not waiting until Mercury wasn't in retrograde, and that's the issue. Y'all talking about God knows my heart, yes girl, and he also knows your location, and you're back at that man's house, knowing you're not supposed to be there. And if that man can leave whenever he wants, then that's not a covenant, girl. That's DoorDash. He's dropping it off and leaving no tip. That's just scandalous, girl. That's Uber Eats. And this is the thing, I support whatever anyone decides to do with their body. Please, do as you please. But we need to come to a clear understanding of what celibacy is. Celibacy is at least 6 months, not 6 weeks, not 40 days and nights unless you were wandering in the desert being tempted by Satan himself, girl. 6 months means season change, weather shifts, summer, winter, fall, spring, and maybe even summer again. If you're really dedicated, we need to get down to the brass tacks. To claim celibacy, you have to survive multiple ovulation cycles without accidentally downloading Hinge again. If your celibacy can be undone by one you up text at 11:47 p.m., then babe, you're out the group, you're out the chat, you're not celibate with us. You're not. And this is the thing, I really do support anyone doing what they want to do with their body, but we need to start being honest with our homegirls. When they say they're celibate, we just have to politely remind them that wasn't the case on that lovely Saturday afternoon in Houston, Vegas. This is community accountability, and I'm the neighborhood watch. And you know why I low-key don't condone celibacy unless you're really, 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 really built like that? Is because a lot of times celibacy leads to binge behavior. Like, here's the logic. You know when you go on a diet for a few months and then as soon as that diet is over, you back to fries, pies, and sides like you never left. It's the same thing with celibacy. Like, when you're really celibate, sometimes you get so backed up that as soon as you're done, you end up doing it with a man that just got out of prison. Because honestly, it's both of y'all's first day out the fence. Like, he came out ready and you came out ready. And all jokes aside, I'm so serious. I do support when people go celibate to go closer to God or make that decision that's best for themselves. However, for that small group of people that are doing it incorrectly, I'm on you like white on rice because we can't let that behavior slide anymore. My brothers and sisters in Christ, y'all are doing it incorrectly. I'm the judge and the jury. Get it together. Okay, here's my hot take. I think that men that go to the gym a lot, like obscenely a lot, like 6 to 7 times of the week, or like breathe, eat, sleep the gym, have small penises. Because why are you there every day? Don't you have hoes to text? Why does the staff know you by name? Like, why are they greeting you like a coworker? Why does the front desk say, see you tomorrow, like they know you're gonna be there? Something is off. Like, 3 to 4 days makes sense, but any amount after that, you're overcompensating. Like, you have to be overcompensating for something that you lack, and I know exactly what you lack. Lame. And I'm not about to let y'all fight me on this. I know it's true. Every time I see a man with oversized muscles, I just picture him saying like, does this have protein in it? Y'all don't realize that the real riz comes from personality. Like, do y'all know who Jeannie Buss is married to? Jay Moore, a comedian. Because he uses jokes to get inside that multi-million-dollar box. Y'all are worried about the wrong thing. You're worried about muscles, you should be worried about jokes. You think your macros are gonna get you a bad bitch? No. And if you're in the gym too much, you have no personality. You're banking on the fact that I'm going to be thinking about your muscles and envisioning myself being thrown around. And sometimes that works. But then I snap back into reality and I realize that I'll be utterly disappointed when we get home. And that's just the facts of the case. Like, what is your personality outside of protein powder? Like, seriously, what would happen if someone takes your shaker bottles away? Withdrawals? Probably. And that's another thing y'all need to accept. Pre-workout is just cocaine. It is. Honestly, if you go to the gym that much, I think I'm just not your taste. And by not your taste, I don't mean black women. I mean women, period. That's it. All right, everybody, that's the tea, that's the gag, that's the skinny for today. Catch me next week. Come back, please. Please come back, because who wants to come just once? Am I right?